Hey everybody, this is Mike with On Point Preparedness. You might all recall a couple months ago I did a vlog type video. It was a DIY of some solar stands that I made out of lumber. They're holding up my 200 watt panels. I've got 6 of them totaling 1200 watts. And after that video, a lot of people asked me just how I built the stands as well as what solar generator I chose. So I thought I'd just do a prepping video. I haven't done a whole lot of those and mostly focused on like spiritual deceptions and things happening in the news, but I thought this would be a good video to do in case anyone's interested in backup energy, because again, the whole situation globally is just not great. There's a lot of energy crises that are going on around the world. It doesn't seem like they're stopping. In fact, it only seems like they're getting worse. It's due to labor shortages. It's due to energy being used as a weapon, geopolitical tensions, etc., etc. And so it's just good to have a backup, if you can afford it. The really nice thing about these solar generators, though, is you can get in at a relatively cheap price and go, very expensive depending on where you're at. So, I had a much smaller one, which cost a couple $100s, and it could power up, flashlights, lights, cell phones, maybe a laptop. And I wanted to upgrade just to power like refrigerator, freezer, possibly microwave, things like that. So I upgraded to this mid-tier. This isn't going to be a technical review of this unit. This is the Pecron E2000LFP. I don't want to bore you guys with all sorts of technical details, but there is a channel called Hobotech, and he does, in layman's terms, reviews of all these solar generators, and this one got an outstanding review because of its price point as well as its durability and its reliability. And he said this is one of the cheapest ones that you'll find that's quality, that he's reviewed at least. So that really piqued my interest. Plus a lot of prepper channels were reviewing this Pecron brand. My experience has been really positive. I'm stress testing it right now in a whole bunch of different ways. I mean, I had it up to 13 or 1500 watts. It can hold it can have 2000 watts drawn from it at any given time, and it can definitely hold that. But this thing is held up to being plugged into my refrigerator and freezer, plus my deep freezer, plus a whole bunch of televisions that were turned on, plus a whole bunch of lights that are around the house. I mean, this thing was operating like a champ. So you can see here, like right now, it's drawing about 1140 watts. My solar panels are bringing in about 730 watts. And so overall, I've just been, really pleased with this. Again, this is their E2000 lithium iron phosphate battery. The lithium iron phosphate batteries are the ones that have a lot more battery longevity. So this one, you can have it fully charged down to being discharged over 3,000 times, and it'll still retain about 80% of its battery life for the rest of its battery longevity, I guess. The lithium iron ones, after so many discharges, it starts to decay a lot quicker than these lithium iron phosphate ones. So that's why this one really piqued my interest. So I really like the lithium iron phosphate battery. It's got a whole bunch of AC ports. It has a whole bunch of USB ports and DC ports. You can withdraw as much as 2000 watts from it. It's a 2 kilowatt hour battery. So the way you think about that is if you're drawing 1000 watts at any given time and it's a 2 kilowatt hour battery, you can run 1000 watts or 1 kilowatt for 2 hours. Again, this is expandable out to 8 kilowatt hours. There's 2 additional battery packs that you can buy, and each one of those is 3 kilowatt hours. So 2, 3, and 3. I haven't bought those yet, but that's really nice that it's expandable to be so big. And then in terms of how much solar you can hook into it, each one of these ports can take in 600 watts from solar panels. There's another 100 watt MPPT controller, so you can have as much as 1300 watts coming into this main unit. The neat thing about the extra batteries is each one of those extra batteries has MPPT controllers, which allows them to be charged by solar. And so each one of those can take 400 watts of solar input. So if you think about it, I mean, that's in terms of battery size, with the expansion being 8 kilowatt hours plus the input 1300 watts from the main unit plus 400 for each of the batteries, totaling like another 800 watts. I mean, that is more than enough for so many things. Now, obviously, you can't be running your dryer or your oven or those really big heavy heating elements. But I'll tell you what, again, I've been stress testing this. This thing powered up my microwave. It powered up the coffee pot. It powered up multiple televisions on at once, and combined with the refrigerator freezer and the deep freezer and a whole bunch of lights around the house. So I've been just incredibly impressed by its capability. And in an emergency, I know its limits, right? So you can't go hog wild in terms of just living like you were in an emergency. You still want to be able to conserve energy and just be mindful of the restrictions on this unit. Again, the total battery size, as well as the fact that you can't go over 2,000 watts at any given time. But I mean, I've just been very, very pleased with this. Again, it's a really popular brand among the prepper channels, mostly because of the price. If you look at the EcoFlow brand, or there's some other big brand, Goal Zero, there's another brand, I forget the name, but those are much, much more expensive than this. And again, if you look at the Hobotech review, he said that for the price per kilowatt hour, this is probably the cheapest and still quality. So again, I really suggest you check out that review if you're interested in one of these. And again, Pecron has a whole bunch of smaller versions as well. So I think this unit, I got it on a pre-order sale along with a coupon code, so it was all the way down to $1,300. I think right now it's $1,500. So I mean, that's expensive. I had to save up for a while for this. And this might be out of some people's price point, but they have some other ones which are a couple $100s, although much smaller battery size, and you also can't hook as much solar into it as well. So if I haven't mentioned it already, I'll put a picture on the YouTube video. If you're really not sure about how much energy you need, make sure you buy one of these energy monitors. You can plug it into a standard wall outlet, and then you plug your appliance or whatever into that, and you can monitor what's the max amount of energy that it needs at startup, like its surge. That's what they call like their surge input. So how much is the max energy that it takes, as well as like the average throughout a whole day. And you just go around throughout all your appliances and use that energy monitor, and then you start to think of, okay, if I want to run all these things, and let's just say worst case, they're going to draw 500 watts consistently. Okay, if I get a 2 kilowatt hour battery, that's going to last me 4 hours. 2,000 watts or 2 kilowatt hours divided by 500 watts, you're going to get about 4 hours out of that. Now 500 watts is a lot. You'd be surprised with what 500 watts can handle. But so again, you really just need to see how much or what you want to power and for how long you want to power it. You also have to consider, in the daytime when the sun comes out, are you going to be able to charge the battery plus run your appliances? And then also, what do you do about cloudy days? Is there going to be enough battery capacity to get you through a couple days? So I've sort of considered all those things, and this is where I've netted out for this intermediate range solar generator. For the cloudy days and things like that, you can see here I still need to clean this up. I need to put some drywall over this. But, I have a small 2,000 watt inverter generator, gasoline powered, and I can run it outside and then hook it into this wall outlet so that I can run the electricity in here. And they've got these, I'll just put it right here, these big brick style AC/DC chargers. Each one of these can charge 600 watts. So I bought 2 of these, and you plug one into each of here for 1,200 watts. So, if there is a whole bunch of cloudy days, I do have some gasoline, and I can run that generator. And the nice thing is, with those generators, it's going to be burning the gas no matter what. And so the nice thing about using the electricity to power up a solar bank, a battery, I can run the generator for, a couple hours, and the majority of the electricity is going to be feeding into this battery, and then the excess I can be powering up things around the house. But then I don't have to run my gas generator like all night. I can have a lot of the energy stored up in this battery bank, and it'll last the rest of the night. So it's really just being very conservative minded about the fuel and how much I'm using, being prepared for if there's a whole bunch of cloudy days. So that's pretty much my combo. I got a Champion 2000 watt inverter gas generator and the Pecron E2000 lithium iron phosphate version. And then I've got 1200 watts of solar panel outside. So I guess I can show you that real quick. All right, guys, so here's the solar panels. They're all finished. I don't think they were completely finished the last time that I was out here with you guys, but I bought these Renogy 200 watt panels, got 6 of them, again totaling 1200 watts, and built these solar stands for it. I'll tell you what, I just looked up lumber DIY solar stands online, and the majority of people said use 6x6 posts, and I tried to save money and I used 4x4 posts, and they actually were a lot more wobbly than I thought they were going to be. So you'll see that I have these additional 4x4s that are having to brace the backside. So if you happen to do this, definitely don't skip. Use the 6x6 posts, or you might be able to get away with like 4x6s, but I just set up these 4x4 posts about 8 feet apart, and then got a 2x6x10 just to go across it, and I have that screwed in with lag bolts. And then on the underside here, you can see each one of these solar panels is set up by 2 2x4s, and so those are just connected, let me see here, just connected right there. So I got 2 of those on each panel. And then how these connect to the structure itself is, you can see these, let's see if I can point here, these brackets. These are just heavy duty door brackets. So you can see I just have them lined all the way down, and so these beams, the 2 beams that are on each of the solar panels, they have their own bracket there on the top side. And then on the bottom side, I just have a 2x4x8, and if I can zoom in, I've got brackets there on the bottom as well. And the reason I did these brackets is so I can move the whole solar panel array between the summer and the winter. So in the summertime, you're supposed to look at your, I think it's longitude, mine's like 39 degrees, and add 15 degrees to it. And then in the winter, you subtract 15 degrees. So I've got to tilt these panels more vertically in the wintertime, and then have it pointed further up in the sky during the summertime. So I'm not sure how much of a difference that is going to make in terms of additional wattage that I can get out of it. Honestly, those brackets were pretty expensive. It probably isn't worth it in terms of the price. If I were to do it again, or if you want to do it, I'd say again, use 6x6 posts, and also probably just figure out what the ideal angle is for your panels and just build it steady state, because I really don't know if adjusting the panels are really gonna be able to let me recoup a lot of the money that I put into those brackets, because those brackets were, I think, like $450 each. They were pretty expensive. So yeah, this is just generally, you can get an idea with how I built it if you're handy with wood. The other thing that I'll mention here is when you look at the Pecron or any other solar generator, it'll tell you what the max input voltage is. So I think for the Pecron E2000LFP, it's like 91 volts. And save your money. Don't buy solar panels from the solar generator companies. I mean, they are just way, way, way overpriced. Way, way, way overpriced. Instead, look at the, and you can probably see it here, if I can just get it here. There is a, let's see, yeah, open circuit voltage VOC, 27 volts. And so what you do is you find that VOC rating for your panels, and if you put your panels in series, and what that means is, I have this panel, like positive or negative to positive, it just hooks into the next panel, and it hooks into the next panel. That's what it means in series, when you have just the positive and negative ends hooking in together, just like I have here. So it's just one panel hooked into the next. When you put them in series like that, it increases the voltage. So if it's 27 on this one, then you add another 27, you add another 27. So that, you're supposed to be like 15 to 20% below the max voltage that the generator can have. So I think if the max of the Pecron is 91 volts, I think they recommend like no greater than 72 volts. I think mine comes out to be like around 80 volts, somewhere around that range. But you don't want to go above that voltage because your Pecron or your solar generator will just shut off because it's too much power. So yeah, I just say do your research, look into third-party solar panels to hook into your generator. Don't waste your money on the brand-specific ones that are sold by the generator company themselves. And just look on some technical websites just to make sure you're doing it the right way. But so that's it. Again, I'm just very grateful that we're able to have this backup source of power, just with everything going on. Hopefully this helps people at least get some ideas with maybe things that they want to do. And yeah, definitely check out that video from Hobotech. He does a lot of great reviews. Even if you don't go with the Pecron, there's a lot of other brands that he mentions on there. Again, small to large. Not everything is super expensive. A lot of it's smaller tier as well. He does reviews on everything. So again, hopefully this helps you with all your prepping needs and ideas. Until the next video, this is Mike with On Point Preparedness. God bless everybody.